Fishing. A feature added to Minecraft all the way back during its development in Alpha. Is there much to know about fishing in Minecraft? Well, quite a bit. In order to fish, you will require two things. First and foremost, a fishing rod. To craft one, you'll need 3 sticks and 2 pieces of string. Secondly, fish don't usually run on land, so you'll most definitely need to find a body of water. Your position relative to the water when fishing doesn't really matter, as you can be in the water, on a boat, or of course standing on land or a structure. Finding an eligible spot to fish isn't hard at all. In fact, it couldn't be any easier. A body of water actually has very few requirements in order for you to successfully begin fishing. And when I mean a few requirements, I mean almost none. Yes, this actually works, but wouldn't recommend it, although creating your own pool of water does actually work just fine when it comes to fishing. If this is a method you wish to use, I'd recommend making your man-made pool of water at least 7 blocks in length and width. The depth of the body of water doesn't really matter, as fish can be caught just as efficiently in shallow water, even if it's only 1 block deep. If you're planning on finding a natural spot to cast your line, try and find a decent sized lake, river or ocean where there's a fair amount of horizontal space. Before you cast your first line, keep in mind fishing in a body of water that isn't directly exposed to sunlight or moonlight will increase the time it takes of reeling in a catch by double, so make sure there's nothing sheltering the water. Right before you begin, double check in your video settings that your particles effects is not set on minimal. Having it on anything but will make your life so much easier. To begin fishing, simply use a fishing rod, casting the line into your selected body of water. Preferably aim it in an area where there's a lot of horizontal space, but not too far away from you either, so everything is as clear as possible. Once the bobber at the end of the line lands in the water, before long, you'll notice fish will start to approach the bobber. Now, you can't actually see the fish themselves, but you can see the trail of water particles they leave behind on the water's surface. Now, careful not to confuse these trails with the sporadic splashes in the water. The trails will have significantly more water particles with a moving fluid motion. You'll need to watch for these trails very closely, as when they get right up to your bobber, you'll see it quickly dip under the water, making a loud splash, which means a fish has bitten on your bobber's hook. When this happens, you only have half a second to activate your fishing rod again, reeling in the line instantly. If timed poorly, you'll simply reel in an empty line with no reward. If timed right, you'll receive your catch. Successfully reeling in a catch will also grant you a fair amount of experience. If the fishing bobber is being rained on, the time it takes to make a catch is reduced, so rainy weather is a perfect time to go for a fish. Now, if you noticed, I like to use the word catch a lot, as fishing in Minecraft won't always guarantee you'll be given fish. Yes, it is likely you'll catch the odd bit of junk every so often. These items you see on screen are the officially listed pieces of junk that can be reeled in when fishing. For your personal interest and convenience, I have listed them all and by their odds of being obtained. And yes, I know, you can indeed catch a fishing rod using a fishing rod. This and leather boots will most likely be found with durability damage. Of course, most frequently, you'll be catching fish, the most common by far being raw cod, or if you're on console, just called raw fish. One of the coolest things about fishing in Minecraft is the possibility to fish out treasure. Yep, these are the treasure items you can find when fishing, all of which share the same chance to obtain. Don't ask me why lily pad is officially listed as treasure, but you'll notice the fishing rod is back with a nice chance of finding a bow too. These two will most likely have decent durability damage on them, but will contain random enchantments on them. These enchantments will be the equivalent to applying a level 30 enchant. Yes, catching these would be an excellent find, not to mention the enchanted book as well, which also comes with one or more random high-level enchantments for you to use. When fishing, an unenchanted fishing rod will have an 85% chance to catch fish, 10% of catching junk, and only a 5% chance of catching treasure. The fishing rod can obviously receive its own enchantments. The higher level the enchant level is, the stronger its effects are. A fishing rod with the lure enchantment will increase the rate of fish, particularly biting on the rod's hook. It also decreases the wait time until a catch, rather generously. This is an absolute must-have for fishing. A fishing rod with the Luck of the Sea enchantment will ultimately increase your luck whilst fishing. This lowers your chance of finding junk and increases your odds of finding treasure. The likelihood of catching fish is lowered, but very slightly. A fishing rod with the Unbreaking enchantment ultimately means its durability decreases at a slower rate. A fishing rod with the Mending enchantment will have its durability restored upon picking up experience orbs. A fishing rod with the Curse of Vanishing enchantment will not drop as an item upon death. Sometimes you'll notice when fishing, you may hear a faint splash sound. This, just like the nearby visual water splash effects, are there to throw you off and make fishing require a bit more of your focus. The sound of the hook being bitten is much louder. You can cast a fishing rod's line at other entities such as players and mobs. If the hook lands on them, reeling in the line will drag them a little closer, but dealing no damage. But don't try this on a creeper, obviously. Items too can also be reeled in the same way, as well as boats, minecarts, and falling blocks such as gravel. Careful though, reeling in items and entities cost a lot more durability. After casting the line, you can still look around and move freely, but the line will break if you walk too far. You can also use fishing rods as fuel for a furnace, although it's not very efficient. Catching an item uses up 1 durability from the fishing rod. The rod itself has a total durability of 65. The rod will also suffer durability damage when hooked onto entities or landing on a solid surface. 2 damaged fishing rods can be fused into a repaired fishing rod. This can be done in the player crafting grid and on a crafting table. For slightly better repairing, you can also use an anvil, but will cost some experience. You can also use an anvil to rename your fishing rod. Few drowned have a chance to spawn with a fishing rod equipped. Those drowned have a low chance to drop the fishing rod they're holding, which will be damaged and unenchanted. You can also find fishing rods in underwater treasure chests or by trading with fishermen villages. A fishing rod's hook can actually be used to activate wooden pressure plates as well as weighted pressure plates. Oh my lord, there was quite a bit of info to cover in this episode, so I'm going to go and take a breath, but while I go do that, you can check out the entire playlist of this series from the description or have a crack at the trivia question. What happens to a carrot on a stick when it breaks?